street analysis. You saw that out in the lobby. Red is 0 to 5%. Green is doing great. And so what we're doing is looking at those trees that are overhanging streets. And that helps us with things like, you know, is it pleasant for walking? Is it pleasant for biking? Is it pleasant to live on that street because you have really good canopy? So that's helpful if you want to think about where to plant street trees. And we're also looking at where you can fit them. So again, using our computer model, what we're doing is asking purple is buildings and green is trees, and then we can start to say in this sort of tan color, those are opportunities for trees, and also impervious areas. Sometimes we recommend jackhammering up part of a parking lot and putting some trees in there. You know, trees over parking lots make your parking lots last longer, so they make sense for that investment too. So this is how we do it. So you take a median, and that canopy is the area not just in that median, but what also overhangs the street. So we can model exactly, not exactly, but pretty close to how many trees could you fit here. All right, and there are different benefits based on the size of the tree. A large tree has more benefits than a medium tree and a small tree. So you can look at how they help you cool the county, right? So that reduces your energy costs for air conditioning. We can look at stormwater benefits, a whole host of different benefits that we'll be calculating for you. And then we can say, well, we can even break down our model into this. What this is showing, it's a little hard to see from your seat, but the light color, that's where a large tree could fit, medium tree, and a small tree in red. So we are actually looking at, this can take a great big oak tree. This is actually a small spot, but it can still fit a small tree. Right? Something like a crab apple would fit okay here. So that's where you can get into the nuances. We don't just think a big tree doesn't fit everywhere, right? All right, and then the obvious strategy is to plant more, but that's what we're also going to be looking at in terms of how much does it cost to plant more trees, and where does it make sense to make that investment? And even in well-treed neighborhoods, say like you have an old neighborhood in the county and has great big old trees, but maybe no one's planted a tree there for the last 80 years, so you've got to start planting those children trees, right? That's how populations continue. And that's really important because when you get a big storm, we'll often come through and take down a lot of the big trees all at once, and then people say, what's happening? Well, it's because they're old, their roots are weaker, and we didn't plant any succession trees to come in. So start thinking about that. All right, so this is a little easier to read. This sort of green hatching is from our data for Orange County, and all that green hatching are showing you places we found where trees could fit. Okay, they're not interfering with the utility, they're not in the road, they're not in a hazard area. And then even just looking at parking lots, right? So we have a lot of parking lots in the county, and so we say, can we take something like this and maybe turn it into something like that? And sometimes we find that parking lots are very overbuilt. They might be built for the amount of traffic that you'd expect on Black Friday, right? And then the rest of the year it's empty. You can do lots of different strategies such as grasscrete, which is a sort of reinforced grass you park on, but you only park on that a few times of the year when there's shopping mania. The rest of the year you can have less. We also look at variable space sizing. I used to drive that. I drive something like that now. Anyway, but the point is that while we do drive a lot of big SUVs and trucks, we don't all drive that. So we can play around with the spacing and sometimes get the same number of parking spaces, but not all have them for Mondo trucks. We also think about green streets. So we want to have bicycling and places where it's safe and the speed limit's slow enough. But we also want to think about how can we make that a shaded, comfortable street. So we're looking at, when we say green streets, we're thinking about stormwater management, pedestrians, bicyclists, and also well shaded. We can also look at running water to one side of the street, creating bioswales and other techniques. You've got a lot of this around here, but you also have a lot of older streets that don't have good stormwater management. So there are lots of opportunities to put that in. And then often we stick urban trees in places and don't give them enough room. You know, it's like, what if when you were 5, I put you in a box and said, try to fit here. Please don't eat too much, right? So this is the problem, is often we don't give enough space. This is a picture from Winter Park. They have nice big planting areas. We asked the county staff, where should we go see really good planting spaces? And they said, go to Winter Park. They did a good job with their urban trees. So, you know, we want to think about those roots having enough room to expand out so they're not getting in the way of utilities, they are not interfering with buckling the sidewalk, they've got enough room to spread out, they don't need to get into trouble. A general rule is 1,000 cubic feet of soil volume per tree. That's a lot of space, but why plant a tree that's gonna die in 10 years? Because a lot of times when that tree dies, people say, well, that was the tree budget, sorry, we don't have any more money. We'd rather see less trees, but well done so they last a long time. In tight spaces, you can also use structural soils and silvacells and other techniques to give those roots extra strength so they don't have to spread as far, but they got a lot of strength in a small space. You would spend money on that in places, say, where you didn't have a lot of room, but you really wanted to do some beautification, like a commercial district, where maybe you didn't have much room to work with. Okay. But the point of that is that you get benefits for the tree. You get a lot more benefits if you can get a bigger tree to fit in a tight space. Okay, so just as you were getting settled in, that's the end of the slideshow. I was told to behave myself and to be quick. So what we're going to do now is to ask you to come back out to visit with us in the lobby. We have staff here from Orange County. Chris and I will also be out there. And what we're asking you to go find your area of the county. Tell us how green it is. Are there strategies you'd like to see in place? What challenges do you see? You know, is the power company always lopping the tops off the trees where you live? Are people, you know, trees are in too tight of a space? Do you have a lot of flooding going on there? If you know opportunities to plant trees, I'll give you an example. We've been doing this workshop every week with different cities. A scout leader came up to me and said, I have 3 Eagle Scouts and 10 regular Boy Scouts and we're ready. So they just wanted assignments. And then how can you encourage more tree planting? So whether it's rebates or other ideas that you guys have. So we're just collecting ideas tonight, concerns and ideas. But at the very least, we'd like you to try to find yourself on that map, if you can. And the maps, again, to remind you are going from west to east. So does anyone have any general questions before I send you back out there? Not? Sir in the front, can you just wait a moment? Sure. There's a hand up in the back.
What's the general timeline for this study?
Well, it's a kind of a complicated answer, and I don't want to sound like a politician. But we are about halfway through. In our minds, we've asked the state to give us an extension to do more analysis. So we're pretty sure we're going to get that extension. So we're either 2/3 of the way through or halfway through, if that helps. So end of the year, for sure, we will be done. And we'll have calculations for you. So we'll be probably back sometime in the fall to show you what the benefits are. So we'll be giving you benefits for air quality and stormwater uptake and coming back with some strategies for you to react to. Yes, Jim, did you actually?
Soils. Did we get a chance to, or is our ambition to kind of take a look at soil sections across our community? They're very different, out east from west.
Yes. So in the modeling that we're doing, we're using curve numbers and we're looking at the soils data that you have. We are not able to go out and dig any new soil pits, but for what we do know, we are factoring that into the model, absolutely. Yes?
I don't want to make an assumption, but
Sure.
Are you paying attention to native Florida trees and bushes?
Right, so for our analysis of what's going on right now, we're just whatever's on the land, we're calculating what it's doing. But then in terms of making recommendations, we might look at your tree list or what you have on your don't plant list. But we always try to go native because native plants are more adapted to your drought and deluge type weather patterns that you have
So
here.
it's part of the project.
Absolutely, yes. And so if you want to even come up and say, tell everyone never to plant this evil tree, and let us know. We often find there's strange things being planted. We can go on. We'll talk with you in the hallway about that. Sir, you also had a question, Paul? Or I saw another hand up. Was it you? Okay.
Do I understand correctly that your study will include the urban, the city of Orlando areas as well?
Thank you for asking that. I should have been more clear. This is the unincorporated areas. So Orlando has its own tree canopy already calculated. And I had that number up there. I think it was 42%, I think was Orlando. Yeah. That was Winter Park actually. Orlando, yeah, was more in the lower 30s. You can come up when I'm done and I'll show you that slide.
I don't know if you interact with the city. I know there's representatives of the city.
Yeah, so our project is with Orange County itself, so we're just doing the places that Orange County is in charge of managing. But we look at the whole thing. So like, for example, if you look at that street map out there, you'll see some of the incorporated areas showing up as well. Yes?
So Orange County and Orlando are going through an amazing growth spurt,
Yes.
especially over the course of the coming decades, right? In your study, are you looking at how to properly value trees in terms of development instead of coming through and clear-cutting green space for nominal amounts of money? How do we ensure that we're kind of balancing development with the natural?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely, yes. So that's why Chris has, like I said, is bleary-eyed because she's reading all of the codes and practice to look at, is there, people are allowed to just clear everything and then build and then try to put back trees that if they'd left some on site could have been providing tremendous value. If we clear the whole site, lot line to lot line, we might be another 30 to 50 years to getting back to the value those trees provided. So yes, absolutely. We're looking at all of the things that drive practices to clear land. But we're not going to be making a growth management plan for you. We're just going to be saying, in Orange County, these policies are either facilitating more land clearing or having it be less.
And then providing suggestions on
Yes.
how to change policy? Okay.
Yes, absolutely. No, we're not going to just give you, here's your report card of how you were inefficient or deficient.
Cool.
No,
Well, we need
no,
to-
then no one would like us and we never come back. No, we have to actually come up with ideas, and that's one small, we want ideas from you guys too, right? So we are just, well, we have more people than two at our firm, but we are here to hear from you. You live here, you work here, you can tell us, we tried this, it didn't work, this is an idea we could try here, but we'll also be bringing you ideas from other parts of Florida where we know things have worked that you could try. So it's a lot of just information exchange. I'm going to take two more and then we'll go out in the hall because you can find us to ask questions. Yes?
Will your study take into account the maybe peculiar or specific Florida-wide laws regarding utilities and trees? Because I think after the 2004 hurricane season, it became a lot more restrictive.
Yeah, so we don't necessarily control what the utilities do, but we do look at what their practices are. Sometimes we will talk to a utility company, letting them know that there is a power line sort of conservation program nationwide that they can sign up for, and they can start to look at planting smaller things and working with homeowners. Once that big old tree is up in those power lines, it's very hard to say, don't top that tree. So we're really looking at right tree, right place. Over time, just try to put the right kind of trees that will work with that power line. But yes, we talk to power line companies. We will talk to anyone. Yes, I'll get you, young lady, and then we'll go into the hallways for one-on-one conversations.
So first of all, thank you for calling me young lady, so we'll start with that. And I'm a big fan of trees, but I did want to ask about whether there's any calculations. I do know that tree leaves are a major contributor to nutrient pollution in our waterways, so we're reducing stormwater runoff, but we're also, so do you balance that or calculate that in any way?
Yes, we do look at that. It's kind of an interesting question because when we look at different models, while yes, trees drop leaves, and if you're not vacuuming your streets regularly, they'll get in your storm drain and might add to nutrients, but these soils are also, and the tree itself is taking nutrients out. So when you run that sort of mass balance equation, they're not contributing more nutrients to your stormwater. But seeing is believing, so we have to show the Public Works Department all our calculations and explain why it is that we're pretty solid in this. And so as part of this, we also do a literature review of the latest scientific findings and bring a lot of different research to bear to make our case. But yeah, we do consider that as well. And we do not look at every single patch of open space in the county and say a tree should go right there. We try to balance out all the different concerns. But there are some things that you guys are doing that right now I can already see I'm going to be making some recommendations about. So I'll save that for next time. But there's always improvements that can be made. All right, so with that, take the last bit of energy you have left in your